Hey, welcome everyone. This is Tony Barnett. Welcome to my YouTube channel where we explore creative influence in the modern context. Today we're going to talk about a concept that I think could be really powerful for the emerging creator or somebody that's just trying to create on a daily basis. And the concept is called priming. Simply priming is putting something in to get something out. So think of it in some simple terms. You put gas in your car so that your car will go. You basically prime the pump with fuel. You're using an input for the sake of an output. I was turned on to this concept by a leadership scholar named Gail Fairhurst. In her book, The Power of Framing, she talks about priming for spontaneity. The way Fairhurst uses it in the context of leadership is really around leadership development. You want to pick up the skills that you need so that in the moment when leadership and influence is needed in the leadership arena, that you've inputted enough into yourself that without thinking, those become your outputs. You're priming for spontaneity. I want to borrow that a little bit and talk about priming for creativity. The idea is for us to be better creators, we have to be good consumers of creations. We have to take in the right inputs to motivate us and to help develop what our outputs are in the context of creativity. Let me give you a couple examples. They say that the best writers are the best readers. It's a real simple example that people that are voracious readers tend to be better writers because they are priming themselves to be creative in the writing space. And I think that's fair in the visual creation space also. Film directors come to mind. Almost in any interview that you hear with a film director, they will call back to a film that they'd seen, a shot that another director had set up, and how that influenced their creativity for their own creation in their own film. And another reason I like this concept is it's broad reaching. It's just not about the things that motivate you to create. It's not about the inputs that you take in for better creative output, but it could also be skill based. Say that you've evaluated your work and you realize you need to shoot better video, or you need to make better graphics, or you need to understand search engines better. The interesting thing is you can prime for those outputs by finding the proper inputs. It could just boil down to inspiration, right? We could say we are inspired by the things that we see, we're inspired by the things that we input, but I think it's more analog than that. I really think it is more about the relationship of our inputs motivating our outputs. And we live in an interesting time in history. There are so many inputs coming our way that part of the challenge is that you have to figure out what are the good inputs and what are the bad inputs. Part of the motivation for me for this channel is to help curate positive inputs that will help people be more creative, whether it's a skill-based input, whether it's a creative input, whether it's an inspirational input. That really is my goal at the end of the day, is to be able to curate inputs that become helpful outputs. So the big idea for the video is this concept of priming. It may be something that you're doing already that you don't even think about. You watch certain things, you read certain things, and those things actually influence your outputs, whether it's your speech or your writing or your visual creation. So the big thing that I'm pushing here is that if you are more focused with that priming, more focused with your inputs, that you will see a more focused output. So let me leave you with this application and something that I've tried to do. I try to specifically every day consume inputs that I think are going to help with my creative efforts, which are going to help with my leadership or influential efforts. And that may be reading a book on leadership. That may be reading a book about how to make better video. That could be watching video on YouTube. It could be taking a class online to develop a skill that I don't currently have that I recognize that I could use for my creativity. Another application may be building some social relationships, participating in a creative community, reaching out, making friends with people that are doing the same thing that you'll allow to talk to you about your own creativity, or people that will work with you that you can watch them do their thing and glean some inputs from the work that they're doing. I really hope this is a conversation that continues down in the comments. Are you familiar with priming? Are you already doing things on a daily basis that are inputs that you think will help your creative output? What are some other ways that you curate good inputs? Let's continue the conversation down below. Thanks for taking the time to watch the video. If it was helpful, please leave a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and we'll talk to you the next time.